So I just wanted to say Merry Christmas. We're going to have a Happy New Year's, I hope, and that's right around the corner. We're going to be at 2026. So I want to talk about the status of Tech Deck as a company in 2025 and 2026 and where they're at right now. As you guys may have noticed, a lot of Tech Deck's products are unable to be found in stores. On top of that, a lot of the products that they're selling online, they're just not geared towards the same age bracket or the same audience that they used to be. A lot of them seem to be geared towards younger kids, maybe in their around 6 or 7 now. They have that new toy with the center wheel that's like a remote control. They have they're mostly doing collabs with like SpongeBob, doing collabs with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which, don't get me wrong, TMNT is pretty much, it's got a large audience, but it seems like they're sticking to children's cartoons, Marvel. We're not seeing a whole lot of the collabs that we've seen from past years, where it was a little more edgy, a little more for like teens, and made it more fun for collecting for a lot of people. But nowadays they seem to be going PG. The same owners of Tech Deck, that is Spin Master, they own Paw Patrol. They own, I think, Mattel Barbies and Rubik's Cube. So their oversight company is more or less gearing to a G-rated, PG-rated audience. And I think that is probably not going to be great for the brand. I think that Tech Deck's probably got a bigger following for kids in their teens or like early preteens. I remember getting into Tech Deck. I had no clue what to do with a fingerboard at 7 or 8. I wasn't quite coordinated enough or had a long enough attention span to try to figure out how to kickflip a board or actually use it. It was just kind of like getting them was fun. You had different ones, you collected them. I was mostly into the dudes, but I did like the Tech Deck boards. I had the little cases, and I like to take them apart, put them together, but not really use them because I was too young, and it's a little hard to figure out how to fingerboard at 8 years old. So right now, I'd say the brand they're floating, but they're not doing great. I think they could use more stocking in the stores. I mean, the stores are completely empty with old stock every time I go in near my area. Maybe bigger cities turn over better. Maybe they get more shipments and people are buying more because there's a higher volume of people entering stores, especially in maybe the age bracket they're aiming for. But in my area, they just sit and sit. I'll go to the stores. I actually stopped kind of shopping around because as I went into Walmart's I would go once a week for a while. And back in 2023, I found a lot of stores having pretty decent turnover, but COVID got everything messed up. And then I do believe what I think's happening is the tariffs have made it so smaller items coming from China are just more expensive to import now per item. So you've seen boards that I used to buy 2 or 3 years ago for 99 cents are now in Target for $4 each, which is 400% increase in price. That's quite high. So I've seen less stuff selling because parents are less inclined to buy a toy for $4 that their kid may or may not use. I mean, you're really not going to use a Tech Deck as a 7 or 6 year old. You're just going to kind of roll it around for a few minutes and you get bored with it and move on because it's not very interactive. Tech Deck's more or less based off of using your own imagination and your own skills to have fun, building ramps, taking apart boards, having little parts, which a lot of little kids aren't allowed to have. I'm not going to buy my son Tech Deck boards and let him have them on his own until he's probably 8 or 9 because of the choking hazards. You don't want to put stuff in your mouth. You don't want things to get lodged in their nose. Kids are funny about sticking things where they don't belong. So there's a big kind of mix match on what they're doing. They're aiming for younger kids in the 5-6 age range, but parents, they're not going to let their kids have choking hazards at that age. So you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, right? If you were going to aim for the right target audience, I would think it would be 11, 10 plus. And that's going to take something that's going to make your kid, it's going to have to stick out to your kids in the aisle. And when I go down the toy aisle, if I got to choose between getting 3 little skateboards for almost $15 or 4 little skateboards for $20, or a toy like a truck that you can, remote control truck, or maybe some puzzle, or maybe some Legos or something that I get to, spend a little more time being interactive with, I'm going to go for the Legos. I'm going to go for something that's going to hold my attention a little bit longer. As a parent and as a kid, when I walk down that aisle, I would probably steer my son towards buying something that I know he's going to use and not just kind of fiddle with and then throw it away or step on it, or it's going to end up, what a lot of kids did with them is destroy them, light them on fire, peel them apart, take them apart, then everything's lost, they're garbage, you spent $5 on something that's gone already. So, I don't think Tech Deck's in the best place right now. I really was hoping that we'd see a turnaround with the company. Apparently they have a CEO that is trying to make a better brand for Tech Deck, but in reality it kind of looks like it's just the same stuff. They're working with people like Hookups. There's a new 4-pack from Hookups. I will show that to you guys in a second, but as far as the graphics go, I mean, you used to see like titties on those boards. It was hilarious. You used to see like all sorts of edgy crap coming out from World Industries, Toy Machine, Hookups. You had Blind, and the graphics were like, if you looked at them close enough, it was like, whoa, what's going on here? Like, it's real art, and it's interesting, and it makes kids feel like they got something that is like kind of, underneath the radar from their parents, but it wasn't really anything harmful. It was just kind of like preteen stuff that, most people would say is harmless towards kids. Maybe get some religious moms riled up, but honestly, what doesn't? So, they need to kind of switch over to a different age group. So I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff they've been coming out with, but the graphics just aren't what they used to be, and I'll show you what some of the graphics and how they used to be, and then what we're kind of getting now. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's the new Hookups 4-pack. They've gone pretty mild sauce with this. It's some girls' faces, a girl's face, another girl's face, and we have what looks to be a transformer, which is like it's their standard art style, but what used to be on the boards was way edgier, way more, I would say, not way more, but a little more mature. This stuff just kind of screams, hey, we would like to put out some Hookup stuff, and Hookups make some crazy graphics that are really iconic, but we're scared to do any of the good ones. So they're stuck in this limbo where they're not appealing to kids, because what kid cares about, that? It just doesn't, it's not appealing. It doesn't draw me in. As a kid, I probably would have skipped right past that, but if you were to see some of the older graphics in the aisles, as a kid, it's going to draw you towards it. Mom, I want that. Mom, I want that. Instead, I'd walk right past that now. So let's look over here at some of the older graphics, what they used to look like. I mean, you got a lot of like cartoon violence, which I think is hilarious. It's always Flame Boy ripping on Wet Willie, or sometimes Wet Willie gets a little revenge. But you had funny stuff. You just had things that looked like kids in trouble. You got James Craig boards where he looks like he's stoned out of his mind. You got Josh Casper where he just looks ornery as hell and up to no good. Got some gambling going on. Got some guys wearing, basically gang colors. And it's something that, like, if you were a parent, you'd look at it and you would think nothing of it. Same thing as a kid. Like, it draws you in because it looks tough, but honestly, most kids don't even know what's going on anyway. So, this is the style that used to draw me in as a kid. You see a lot of stuff going on the boards, lots of colors, lots of small graphic details, but instead now we're getting stuff like this. It's okay. It's all right. But ultimately, like, what screams that Wet Willie or Flame Boy are somebody that's funny or iconic? This just screams like, hey, we're using our old graphics, and we're scared to use any of the old graphics that had any cartoon violence or edge to them. So we're just going with the most G-rated ones with pictures of Wet Willie, Flame Boy, Devilman, and hoping that it doesn't offend anybody. Seems like we're really scared to offend anybody in Tech Deck right now, and that's just sad because offending people is hilarious. I just get to it. You know, the fact that they're scared to offend any groups or do anything that might get them a call from a mother saying, I didn't notice what my kid got and it's got titties on it. Like, who cares? Who cares? Don't buy it then. Move on. They used to do stuff that was just hilarious, but now we're getting some real G-rated crap. So, I don't think Tech Deck's in the best spot currently. I think having some issues with where to stand fundamentally based on like their values, since their parent company Spin Master is very, very PG, and not just PG, they want to be politically correct, like their Paw Patrol crap where they're getting like a bunch of hate right now because they decided to add like a some sort of non-gender character or transgender character, and now everybody hates them now, so they're just trying to go like West Coast progressive. Not gonna happen, dude. You're not gonna sell toys that way. You're not gonna sell. You're not gonna get big name from that. Pokemon can stay PG because they have such a large following, as well as the fact that they make quality games that draw in everybody. Even if you're not gonna collect the cards, you know the games will always keep you entertained for the most part. But that's not what Tech Deck is, and that's not how Tech Deck's gonna do well. Tech Deck had a niche market of people who like to collect the edgy stuff and like to, you know, just feel like they were getting something that their parents didn't really understand or realize what it is. And that's your market right there. But they're kind of destroying it right now. They're not stocking in the stores. What is stocked isn't very iconic. They're trying to go for like the Olympic stuff and try to be like, you know, politically correct, but it's skate culture, and like skate culture is not politically correct. It's the opposite of politically correct. The whole reason skate culture was intriguing to me as a kid was because it was bordering the line of offensive and inappropriate, but it was always just like just a step past the line, you know, just a step and then you bring it back. But now it's just all PG. So let's look at these new every quarter Tech Deck releases new Performance Series boards. These are the newest ones. You know, here's some of the older ones. Like, they were okay. They had some pretty good graphics, but again, everything's pretty PG. Everything's just like your standard. They're not picking any of the more edgy graphics that are coming out. And look at these. I mean, I'm starting to get kind of bored with buying the Performance Series because these graphics are just abysmal in my opinion. They're just not good. The last ones are pretty okay. You know, the Flame Boy one was alright, the World Industries. I like the Zero Deck. You know, some of them are alright, but, I mean, look at this, dude. These are just the most sloppy, plain graphics I've ever seen in my life. The only reason why I like these a lot is the quality of the boards. I mean, they're really, like, they have an actual, like, clear coat, shellac. I don't really know what they put on the boards, but they put something on it to coat it. It's a real wooden board. They're done well. The quality's there. I think the quality's there for sure on these. That's something I will give Tech Deck props on, is that the quality of the boards. They're Pro Series. By the way, guys, these are generally on sale. If you're ever looking for them, do not buy them full price at $69.99 or whatever they're asking. I got these for $18, $20. Like, you know, I look on Amazon here and there to see if there's any sales, and frequently I find them 60-70% off. If you can wait for one of those sales, you'll get a performance or a pro board for, you know, pennies on the dollar. So the quality for fingerboarding is there in some of their products, but the graphics and the community that they're trying to appeal to is just, it's not there anymore. So I'm not too sure where they plan on going, if they plan on fixing this or they plan on doing something better soon, because I'm just getting kind of bored with Tech Deck and the direction they're going. I'm hoping that they change it up. Seems like they just don't want to go treading into any territory that might get them a bad phone call from a mom who's upset about something. So it's not gonna work out if you guys can't stock stores. You can't get a fan base that is gonna buy your product repetitively. You got kids getting one or two boards, getting bored. They don't care. They're not gonna collect them. There's too many, And I will add that the last big reason why people definitely will not collect tech decks as much in the future is that there is no catalogs. Without catalogs, without something to base off of for you to see what's come out each quarter, what you're hunting for, what your favorite graphics are to look for, there's no point. I mean, I don't know what I missed, what didn't ever just hit my area. I've seen so many packs of boards internationally or West Coast that I will never see in this area, and I will have to either buy off eBay if I want them, which I'm not doing. I'm not paying, you know, above MSRP on something that's already too pricey. But I think that they're missing out on a lot of the, I guess a lot of the preteens and teenagers that would be interested in their product if they were going to commit to being skate culture and not commit to just being a kid's toy, like a young kid's toy. Basically 5 or 6 years old, it feels like the audience that they're appealing to. So we're working on, I got something cool in the barrel now. I have my friend and I, we have designed some holders for the tech decks. So we got for free, just to start, it was a free design to start basing off of, but what we did is we're going to do a staggered one. Instead of having an upwards angle, they're going to face flat out. It's going to go up 7 high. And once they're done, my friend will be selling them on his website, so I will link that for you guys. But I've been getting some new boards. I will show you guys some of the new graphics I've found, and I think that I like displaying them this way. I mean, I was trying to figure out how to display boards. It's kind of hard without those stands. So for right now, I'm probably gonna leave this one like that. I like it a lot because you're able to see the 3-packs in the back, and those 3-packs are pretty rare. They're hard to find. They were pretty easy for me to find a few years ago, and now they're all gone. And I see people ask, I don't know. There's some weird culture going on with sellers trying to get way too much money for tech decks, but there's just not enough interest. These packs back here, I paid $50 to $70 for each one. Each tech deck dude sealed is probably worth $15 or $20. Oops, dropped something. But nowadays, I saw some guy trying to get $700 for, I think, it was either that 3-pack or that 3-pack right there. And it's never going to sell. It's just causing this huge mass reaction of people with these in their basement, living with their moms, trying to get, you know, outrageous prices for stuff most people just don't care about and will not pay for. So what happens is they get listed, and then somebody lists for $700, and then the next person does a little eBay search and goes, oh, wow, mine's worth $700. I'll ask $690. And then next thing you know, they just sit there forever, dozens of them, never selling, but they're not really planning to sell. It's just people fishing for something that's never going to happen. And then what happens is it just sits on eBay, everything gets clogged up, and then these things sit there for hundreds of dollars, never sell, because ultimately they're worth $50 to $100. And yeah, they're not worth that. Same thing with the seal dudes, you know. The singles over here, you know, I have like a dozen of these right here, and I used to get them for $30, $40 just a few years ago. You know, $30, $40, maybe $50 if they were like ones, like if it was the last of a set. You know, I had like 5 of these, and I was looking for the last one. I think it was like Jive James, and I spent $50 or $60 getting him because I just wanted to complete the collection. But they're $30, $40. You know, I got another one over here. I have 20 or 30 of them, and if they were valued at $700 each, what do I have? $10,000 in tech deck dudes. You know, people want 50. They want $100 for these ones, just the normal ones. They show up all the time. I mean, guys, do you know how many of these I have? Do you have any clue how many of these I have? If these are worth $100 each, I'd be sitting on $100,000 in sealed tech deck dudes, and I am not delusional enough by any means to think that I would ever get that much money. I mean, I think you guys, I don't know if you understand, but this is 7 dudes deep. Like, they go back, and they go back, and they go back. I have 12 or 13 wet willies. Sorry, I have 12 or 13 tiger willies. I have like a dozen of each one because they were so cheap. I was getting them for $10 each, and now everybody wants $100, which is just crazy to me. So if you're on the hunt, I'd say take a little break for now and just wait for things to calm down. Somebody's out there. I think I can tell you who it is. There's a Facebook group out there. Not going to name names, but there's a Facebook group out there ran by a couple of troglodytes that think that their collection of a few dudes is worth tens of thousands of dollars because they found one or two posts asking that much money in the past, and it's just not real. There's not enough demand out there. Most of my friends, when I show them Tech Deck dudes, are like, "Oh yeah, I remember those," but they're not actively collecting. They don't care. They may want one or two, but nobody cares enough to try to complete a collection like this because I'm not going to spend $100 a dude to get 60 dudes. That's $6,000, and nobody's going to spend that for these guys. It's just they're too abundant. I see them out listed all the time. There's a few that go for more than others, but ultimately they're not worth more than, I would say, $30 each, maybe $30. Plus shipping and everything. You might have to pay $40 after shipping and taxes, but flat out, these are only worth $30. So I hope you guys don't go out on eBay and get too riled up and start paying these outrageous prices people are asking. The Facebook group for boards, they want to sit there and rub themselves off and say, "Oh, look, these things are worth $10 each." I've gotten every one of these boards, well, sorry, not everyone, but probably 90% of these boards in the past 6 months, and I don't pay more than $1 or $2 because I look around for deals. I wait for people to list them for 6 months or a year, and when they finally have been sitting for that long, I'll put it in a low offer, and they normally take it because, honestly, since they put theirs out, 10,000 more listings have been made, and maybe 50 sold, and they're just going to sit there forever. So let me tell you how money works. If you have $100, something that's worth $100, and you wait 10 years to sell it, and it's still worth $100, and you get your $100 in 10 years, what you could have done today with the money, get your $100, put it in an investment portfolio. It will go up 7% on average a year, and in 10 years on compound interest, that's probably like $300-400. But if you wait and expect this to somehow go up at 7% a year like a stock, you're a fool. You're just gambling. You're hoping that it turns into Pokemon and Logan Paul jumps up there and puts one of these on a chain and now everybody's rich that has one, right? No, that's not going to happen. Pokemon, you're about to see, it's going to crash one day because the Logan Paul wave has a bunch of 35-year-old man children out there gambling on cards, and they're trying to make their way into Tech Deck. It's a lot of the same mentality, same dudes out there doing the same crap. Stop buying toys if you want to invest. This is not an investment for me. This is just for fun. This is my game room. It's where we hang out. It's where we play video games. We're not trying to make $1 million. We're just having fun. And if you take it seriously and you count these as part of your assets, you're gonna have a bad time. Okay? Don't expect these to be worth anything more than what you pay. If you're trying to get more, you're trying to flip these, you're trying to be a reseller, you're going to fail, okay? You're not going to make any money. After the eBay fees, after taxes, after shipping, after if you're making enough money, after you pay income tax on them, you're literally going to make no money. So I just suggest if you're a Tech Deck enthusiast, watch out for the deals. Do not collect in the hopes of everything going up in value. It's not going to. You want things to go up in value, go buy stocks. Go buy property. Go buy something of value. Do not buy toys. It takes 20 or 30 years for toys to appreciate. That money is much better off in a stock portfolio making interest that is also income deferred or income tax deferred. So if you're I'm trying to give a little bit of advice, but I'm not a financial advisor. Don't invest in toys. Invest in valuable assets, okay? So I hope that whatever wave of guys that are in Tech Deck right now, over on the Facebook groups, trying to convince everybody that these things that I see pop up all day, every day, are worth $10, $20 each. I hope they kind of fuck off into the nether because nobody's going to pay that. You're just swapping in between each other and just kind of circle jerking. You're not getting that money. You're not going to sell your whole collection, especially if you have a large collection. Like if I were to list these today as a lot, there is no chance in hell I get more than $1 or $2 each. Not a chance. If I were to take everything right now and I wanted to liquidate, I would flood the market. There would be no chance I'd get more than $1 because there's just nobody out there willing to spend, $10 each on World Industries boards, $20 each. Like they're Tony Hawk and they're in good condition. Like all these are in really good condition. Nobody's going to pay, what would that be? 10 times, 300. You're talking $4,000 for some tech deck boards that cost 99 cents in their heyday. Not a chance. So the dudes have been going for a little more because they are harder to find, and I kind of understand if they went up a little bit, but they're still not that hard. Like, people list them all the time, and there's not that many collectors. So take a deep breath if you see a board or a graphic you want. My suggestion is wait to see it in a lot and try to make an offer on the entire lot. That way you can get it for maybe $1 or $2 each after shipping and fees and everything. And then if you want to resell the rest of the boards, great. But people selling them one at a time, oh my God, what a bunch of just morons. There's no chance anybody wants to pay, except for very, 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 very specifically rare graphics that maybe were a limited run or from an event. Nobody wants to pay for one board plus $7 shipping. They won't pay, what, $15 for the board, $7 shipping, tax. You're talking $25 for one tech deck. They never sell. And if they do sell one or two here and there, it's because there's other people that just wanted that one board, and it's just not worth their time to wait for it. But it's not going to be routine. There's not a bunch of collectors out there trying to snag these up for $25, $20 a board after everything's said and done. It's not going to happen. So try to aim for collections with, or lots with more in them, because if you're buying, you're going to save on shipping. You're buying one at a time. You're shipping each individual one. That is going to add up quick, guys. It adds up super quick. So I hope this helps. I hope you guys had an awesome holiday. And don't take stock in anything that those kids say on Facebook. Those Facebook groups are just like, they're wackos, dude. They're not living in reality. They're in their own little circle, just trying to tell each other that their collections are worth thousands of dollars, when dudes like me are out here snagging them up for $1 each, and they're getting all angry because, I make content saying, don't do that. It's not worth it. There are so many basements and attics filled with these, filled with boxes of them, and people are just now getting to the point where they're selling them. Our parents, 30-year-olds, their parents, when they retire, is when the estate sales start happening. They start selling off everything in their basements, everything in their garages, everything in their attics, and they end up flooding the market. So in the next 5 or 10 years, I think you're going to see a lot more hit the market, and I think you're going to see probably more people interested in the older stuff. But if they keep up the energy they are with Tech Deck being such a absolutely bland, their stuff is bland and it's not stocked, they keep that up, in 5 or 10 years you're not going to see kids trying to get them anymore when they're 20 and 30. It's just going to fall off the face of the planet. So I hope this helps. I hope you guys had a good time watching the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. I'm going to be working on trying to make some more content. I'll show you guys some of the stuff I got for Christmas and some of the stuff that's out now. The graphics that I kind of like right now are the Bart Simpson graphics and all the fun stuff that they're doing with some of the brands. But the Simpsons was probably the best release they had so far. And the Pro Series, I really like the Pro Series. They work really well, especially if you get them on sale. But they got to change it up, or Tech Deck's going to continue to go down the toilet, and nobody's going to care. So take it easy, guys. I'll see you next time.